Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Astroneer Glitchwalker series. Today we resume our actions and activities on Aeolus. Wow, that was a lot of alliteration. Anyway, so I suggest you strap yourself in, put on your favourite bit of anti-hacker wear, and yeah, let's see where we're up to. Now, in the previous episode, we did a bit of scanning, as we did just then, and the scanning has confirmed that our next vault, which is the thing that we have to hack before we bother starting to collect any of the relevant storm data, the vault that we're looking for next is actually quite a few layers down. Now you can see there's an orange marker there, and there's like 3 white dots above it indicating that it's like basically on a 4th level below us. Now the levels are kind of hard to define in a visual sense. Just rest assured that that is quite deep. Using silver as an example, I guess the first cave level is a level, but as you get deeper in, sometimes the intervening layers are thicker, sometimes the cavern layers are taller. It is a definitive measurement in terms of, you know, X number of meters, but visually it doesn't necessarily work out that way. So, we made a bunch of tethers at the end of the previous episode, and what we're doing here is we're just digging a tunnel down at a reasonably steep angle, with the goal of, well, basically trying to get to this vault. If we get to a point where we go past it, so basically the marker ends up being underneath us or behind us, we'll just do a little zigzag style trail, you know, turn around, start digging back the way we came, but or start spiraling, depending on, you know, how close we think we're getting to it. At this stage, we're a long way above it still, and we're just going to keep digging and digging and digging and dropping tethers as we go, and we're going to cross our fingers and toes that we're not going to spend the entire time digging through rock like this. I'm kind of hoping there's going to be some caverns or something that we'll run into that will, I guess, speed up the whole process a bit. But yeah, we don't know at this stage what's going on. We are, of course, keeping our ear out for any other additional resources that we might come across. It's pretty standard that as you dig down into a planet, you will come across well, pretty much the same stuff you find on the surface usually, but often you will find other resources that aren't necessarily available on the surface, let's put it that way. Now, sure enough, with our digging, we have actually stumbled across a bit of a cave system here. So we're having a bit of a look around. We can see it looks like there's multiple directions we can leave to get out. I'm drawn to the fact that there is actually some wolframite here, which is fantastic because we are going to need some tungsten. And yeah, we're just going to fill up a bit with that for the moment. But then we're just going to have a bit of a quick look around here at which one of these sort of caves and tunnels is going to be the best one to move us forward. Now we're doing a little refresh scan there, and we can see, yep, heading back that way looks like a pretty good deal. And given that cave there seems to be heading in vaguely the right direction, we're going to run with that as a plan. Okay, I think this can be filed under the category of be careful what you wish for. Yeah, I was not that long ago saying it would be nice to, you know, run into some caverns that might save me some drilling. Yeah, you may not be able to get the full sense of exactly how tall you know, or how high up off the ground of, like, the ground level of this cavern that we are right now. And a lot of that is to do with draw distance. It's that big. We're going to be extending a bit of a ramp down very, very, very carefully because we really do not want to be falling off this thing. And we are going to be probably halfway, at least halfway, to that pillar that we're sort of heading towards before we even really get to see very much of what's going on the floor of the cavern. Yeah, it's that tall. So, yeah, Mushroom Layer used to be my all-time, you know, tallest cavern that I would routinely come across. Yeah, it's got nothing on this one. So, yeah, apologies if you have vertigo issues. Yeah, look, you can fast forward this bit if you want to. There's nothing particularly earth-shattering going on in that regard. Mostly just me extending a ramp, trying to be as materials efficient as I can with this ramp. Even though I've got multiple soil containers, as you can see, the amount of blue in that circle is going down very quickly. I wanted to make sure that we made it to this pillar, and of course I can replenish my soil now. But you can't exactly do that in mid-air, and I didn't really feel like running, you know, all the way back up again just to get some soil just to come back down again. So we may end up widening this ramp at some stage. Certainly if we end up bringing a vehicle down here, that will be a very desirable thing to do. But for the moment, wide enough to walk on is just going to have to do. Alright, right there behind that big crystal, you can see there's a structure. That is the vault that we're going to be heading towards. In mid-air like this, I really don't want to do a lot of twists and turns. It just invites me being clumsy and falling off in one of my many journeys that I'm probably going to end up having to take up and down this ramp. So we're going to stick with straight lines. Once we're safely on the surface, we can then worry about how to get from point A to point B. Now you'll notice that only now has the ground scatter and the extra crystals and everything loaded in. Yeah, this cavern is that tall. Yeah, and it looks like a bit of a crystal-inspired alien landscape down here. We've also run into another problem. Yeah, we ran out of tethers. Mental note, if you did pay attention and see how many, lots of tethers I made initially, looks like we should have made another 1 or 2 stacks. Oh well, whatever. We're just having a bit of a look around here just to see if there was any compound available. Trust me, there wasn't. So, to save you having to see me running up a ramp in an episode that was already a tiny bit on the long side, I've elected to just chop that. We did get back to the surface without incident, And we're now just going to start smelting some stuff up and seeing if we can get our hands on some more compound so that we can, get some more tethers done, get back down there and hack the vault. Now, I did do a little bit more at the bottom of that ramp. Even without the tethers, I was able to make, quote unquote, the 100-yard dash just to, pick up a few extra resources and have a bit of a look around. Mostly it was just to try and find compound, and as I said before, it was very unsuccessful. What I was able to do was mine a little bit of hematite, which is the really deep red minerals that you can see over there on the smelting platform and also next to it. Hematite, we smelt that into iron. There'll be more on that in future episodes. For the moment, it's just going to sit there and, smelt away, and we'll deal with it a little bit later. In the meantime, our power issues are starting to be a real problem. So we're smelting up some organic into we're smelting it up into carbon, and we made ourselves a medium generator. Now, the medium generators provide 9 units of power in short bursts. That is going to very much help me with my power needs at the moment. We're evaluating a few things that we need to unlock, including a chemistry lab. Chemistry lab, we're going to need to make some of the fancier stuff, like the fancier raw materials. The main one that springs to mind will be rubber and also aluminium alloy, because that's the two materials we're going to need to be able to make a much more practical and very much larger buggy when it comes time. But there will be a lot more on that in a future episode as well. For the moment, we're persisting with our upgrades to our base. And there is our chemistry lab. And there you go. So it's this sort of a thing. It's a combine two base materials, often smelted metals and things like that. But later on, you will be using that with two materials and a gas to create an even more advanced material. I haven't actually done any of that just yet, but I imagine we're probably not going to be too far away from it in a storyline sense. But we don't have an immediate need for it, probably for another maybe 2 episodes, but we'll wait and see on that one. In the meantime, we're pushing the research through. We definitely need bytes. Trust me, we very much need bytes. Now that we've had a few of these extra recipes unhacked and they're now available, they still cost bytes to unlock them so that we can use them. And the big amount that I'm sort of saving up for at this stage is going to be to unlock the large rover recipe. And a large rover recipe is 5,000 bytes by itself. And 5,000 is not an unsurmountable amount to get, but it's going to be more than 5 minutes. So we're going to be looking to get a lot more research samples. I don't know, we may even get a second researcher running if we can solve our power issues. But for the moment, we're just going to leave the one researcher ticking away. Now, we're taking our tractor out for a spin because we need compound. And there is a bit just here. Seems to be a little bit, you know, thin on the ground, so to speak. The deposits I find are not too bad, but they are relatively few and far between compared to what I might expect back on silver. So I don't know if we need to necessarily be in, you know, economy mode at this stage, but it's starting to concern me that we may run short. Now, there are ways of just getting compound just using the soil centrifuge. And obviously soil is very easy to come by, so if we get stuck, that is always going to be an option. But for the moment, if I can just dig it straight out of the ground, I'd much rather be doing that. Speaking of science, we may as well unlock this little fella while we're here. The wind we get sporadically from the wind turbine should be enough to unlock this guy. If it isn't, well, you know, whatever. But the wind, we seem to be getting it in, you know, bursts. But in this case, I was a bit impatient. I've got a couple of regular generators there. I just fired them up. Why not? You know, it's not like organic's that hard to come by at this stage. Now, because we've been drilling down deeper into the planet, even though we did have a drill mod Mark 1, no substitute for something chunkier, I guess. I know on my regular Astroneer series I said, look, skip over the drill mod Mark 2 because it's pretty easy to get the drill mod Mark 3 when it comes time. In this case, I'm not entirely sure how quickly we are going to be able to, you know, unhack that recipe. And we obviously have business deeper in the planet already. So I figure, we'll just make a drill mod Mark 2. It's not that hard. It's just tungsten carbide. So we've got all of the required bits to do it. So we do it. In the meantime, we're having a bit of a look at some of the other things that we might be able to unlock. As you can see, we don't even have 1500 bytes at the moment, so mostly this is me just reminding myself what's around. and, you know, how many bytes we need. So, for example, that's a vehicle drill. So that's a drill you put on the front of a vehicle, and it's 2,500 bytes. So if we're going to be putting a drill on the front of the large rover when we make it, we're already up to 7,500 bytes. So yeah, we've got a little way to go yet. All right. Well, we're pretty much at the end of this, what ended up being a slightly briefer episode. I would have tried to get the next play session as part of this one, but it was just going to be way too long. So, yeah, woohoo and stuff. So, if you've enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to consider subscribing if you are not already subscribed. Until next time, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure you have yourself an absolutely fantastic day.